Good day, gentlemen. I'm in a 7-year relationship, and I built a business from 0 to 6 figures while being in that relationship. I also can work wherever and whenever I want. I'm healthy as fuck, all this stuff. I know you're tired of hearing this stuff, but I need to tell you this so that you actually trust me with the advice that I'm gonna give you. Because man, back in school, I was the one guy in my whole year of like over 100 people who got bullied the most. I was a full outcast, honestly. I got zero attention from girls. I was skinny as fuck. I didn't feel safe at home. And quite frankly, no one expected me to get here. But I did. And I would not have gotten here without the lessons that love and relationships taught me. And now I want to share with you why love is leverage, because there are reasons why in the US 74% of billionaires are married compared to only 48% of the general population, even though it's much more risky for billionaires to get married, obviously. But I don't want to argue why relationships aren't a distraction. I want to show you how you can get here as well by teaching you stuff that only a few men know, and those are the very men you look up to. A great modern example of this is the entrepreneur Alex Hormozi, right? And you might know him from YouTube. If you don't, he's basically this super jacked guy. He's always focused on striving and hard work and talks about the importance of violent hard work and all this stuff. He's worth a couple $100 million at age 37, I'd say, 36 maybe. But actually, an acquaintance of mine met Alex Hormozi at an event and got to ask him a question. And he asked him, how much do you take your wife's intuition into account when you make business decisions? And Alex Hormozi pretty much smiled at him and was like, dude, you get it. Like, you get it, feminine intuition. And then you might be like, oh, but Alex Hormozi and Layla, they're business partners, right? This is, of course he asks her. Well, let's go to the next person that my acquaintance asked, who was Sam Ovens, Alex Hormozi's business partner in Skool, right? The guy who built Skool.com, and now Alex bought into it, essentially, right? Sam Ovens built Consulting.com before that. He's a big entrepreneur as well, right? He was the OG business YouTuber, basically. If you look at his videos like 7-8 years ago, top tier business videos. Anyway, my acquaintance asked Sam Ovens. Same exact thing. They're not business partners, him and his wife, but same exact thing. What these guys get is the importance and the value of feminine intuition. That it's often quite difficult for us men. Of course, we have a feminine side, right? But it's very difficult for us to actually tap into that feminine intuition. And actually, I've also benefited from this massively. There was a time where my first business that I started right out of school, basically at 18, I eventually got to a point where I was like, I don't think this is it anymore. I don't think, like, it was, honestly, the funny thing was, the month that I quit it, the month before that, I made the most money that I've ever made in that business. And the next month I decide to quit. And I tell my girl this decision, right? And she says, well, yeah, I didn't really see you in this business for the last year. And I was like, bro, what the fuck? You could have told me earlier, you know? But I didn't ask for it. Nah, but at the end of the day, feminine intuition can guide you towards success very well. Because the mind, the masculine mind, is always trying to protect and predict. And is often trying to predict negative things so that it can then protect you from. But the heart, the intuition, right? The heart trusts, and the heart has patience. And that's often very difficult to tap into as a man. We can learn that from our women for sure. But why not just go to the source right away? This is what Alex Hormozi, Sam Ovens, and a lot of other people do. Now, most of the men who watch my channel, they are ambitious. They're some kind of athlete or entrepreneur or something like that. They build something, right? They're achieving goals. And this is who this video is for, by the way, not for some passive, lazy man who doesn't do anything with his life, right? But here's the thing. We're constantly in work mode. We're constantly in this mode of striving and doing. And this is great because it helps us achieve goals. But the men we look up to, they didn't just build a great business or a great body or whatever, they built a life. And in order to do that, what they had to do was learn to just be. Instead of work mode and do mode, be mode. Just being. And this is very difficult, of course, but here's the thing. You look at any great man in history who was influential, who had some level of success, who built one of the great businesses of the last couple hundred years, whatever, or who was some kind of influential person in society, whatever, right? Do you think these men worked 24/7? Do you think they worked 16 hours a day, 7 days a week? Fuck no. They worked a couple hours per day, and the rest of those days, or the rest of the week, was spent being. Was spent, so to say, in their feminine, sitting at a fireplace in a rocking chair, just smoking a cigar, just enjoying themselves, right? Going fly fishing, going golfing, being in nature. Here's the thing. The feminine, whether the feminine energy in a person, in our partner, right, in our wife, in our girlfriend, or in a place or in an activity, a place like Hawaii, for example, right, very feminine, it pulls us from our head into our body. You know this when you get sexually aroused by a woman. You're not thinking, you're feeling. You're in your body now. And what that does for us is it helps us have a relaxed mind, which helps us make better decisions, which helps us, at the end of the day, take better actions and build more success for ourselves. Now, you've probably heard about the whole concept of deep work, right? Cal Newport wrote a book on this, and spending time with feminine energy, whether it's, again, your partner, a place, an activity, that's deep rest. When I spend time with my girl, her positive carelessness, I hope you know what I mean with this. It's not, I don't mean this in a negative way, but she's very childish, right? She forgets about things. She puts her phone somewhere and just leaves it there, whatever. And that's okay. That's very positive carelessness. She's not thinking about that stuff. She's just being present. She's in her body. She doesn't think about, oh, where's my phone, right? That energy, her beauty, her childishness, her bubbliness instantly get me from my head into my body. And there I can make much better decisions afterwards because I'm more relaxed. Even Alex Hormozi actually told this story of how a mentor of him told him, hey man, when you're with Layla, this was basically when he was trying to decide, like, should I marry this woman, should I not? And he said, when you're with Layla, you work out more, you're in better shape, you're in better health, you sleep better, you make more money, like everything. Even though rationally you would think, well, but if he's with his wife, or if like single versus relationship, single, he has much more time to focus on his health, focus on his body, focus on his sleep, focus on his money, all of that. But no, it's not just about the quantity, it's about the quality of your thoughts. And the feminine helps you make better decisions. Simple as that. And actually this was put into words beautifully recently by Chris Bumstead. Yes, the bodybuilder, right? And business guy and father and husband and all of that, right? He was on Chris Williamson's podcast recently and said, everyone needs some kind of constant in life, and the true cheat code is relationships. What he relates to here is we will all feel lost in life sometimes, whether it's in business or whether my best friend, for example, he's a pro athlete, right? And no one expected him to get there either, by the way. We both pushed each other, like we have a fucking alliance. It's insane. And we've pushed each other so much over the last couple of years. Anyway, for him, same thing. He feels lost in sports. Like, how should I play for this team? Should I play for this team? Should I move to this city, to this, whatever, right? All this stuff. Same for me in business. Should I continue with this business? Should I start a new business? Once you realize that you can literally do whatever the fuck you want in this life, and it will work out if you give it your all, you have so many options that you will feel lost. There's this German saying, I'm German, right, if you didn't realize, but there's this German saying which is, you can't see the forest because of all of the trees. That's how you feel sometimes in life as a man, and that's okay because you have this very tunnel vision, right, very directional look instead of seeing everything. The feminine sees everything. And so here again, having that constant in life, think about it like this. When we talk about the word lost, Chris Bumstead also said this. When you think about the word lost, well, let's say you're lost in a forest. Would you rather be lost in that forest alone or with someone who sees you deeply? Of course, the second option. And this is what always happened in my relationship. When I feel lost, my girlfriend's energy, her words, her love, they ground me. And they help me get back on track. And they give me that stability and that reassurance that helps me go out into the world and do whatever the fuck I want. And this is actually funny because in attachment science, right, the science of how we attach to people, anxious attachment, all that stuff, you might have heard of that, right? I was struggling with anxious attachment a lot early in my relationship. I've made videos on that, check them out. Anyway, thing is, in attachment science, there is this thing which is called the dependency paradox, which is basically, if you don't have anyone to depend on, you can't feel independent. We think nowadays, we glorify independence, but what we don't realize is, scientifically, biologically, we are not meant to be fucking independent. We're group animals. And so the only way to actually be independent, there's this great quote, I think this is from the book Attached. It's something along the lines of, if you want to travel down the road of independence and happiness, first find the person that you can travel down this road with, because once you have that person, it's much easier. Once you have this constant in your life, it's much easier to go out into the world and try to achieve whatever goal you want to achieve. And it's not just that, because even when we have direction, even when we know exactly what we want, when we know what the win is for us that we want, like Chris Bumstead knew over the last couple of years before he retired, right? He wanted to be Mr. Olympia every year, and he pretty much did it every year. Here's the thing, first couple of years he won, he talks about this very openly, first couple of years he won, like, keep in mind, he's a world champion, right? First couple of years he won, he didn't really enjoy it. It was more like a relief for him. It was more like a burden was lifted off his shoulders. But then the more he understood, oh shit, I can do this differently. I can do this with a bit more of the feminine. And I'm not telling you, by the way, if anyone comments on this video, but men shouldn't be feminine. Bro, you didn't realize the fucking point. Feminine, masculine, it's not either or. It's not this or that. It's this and that. If you don't combine both of them in yourself, you're fucked, because you will have such a single view vision of the world. You will have such a limited experience of this world. Anyway, the more he realized, oh shit, I can actually do this in a bit more of a feminine way. I can still have the masculine striving, discipline, all that, but also the feminine presence and enjoyment. Well, the last couple of wins he enjoyed a lot. And he still won. And he didn't just win, he won in a better way, because he fucking enjoyed it. Because a win isn't worth anything if you don't enjoy it. And I want to make one more point in this video here. This is very practical. Because the truth is, we as ambitious men, we often don't want to spend time with our women. We just want to work. We just want to train or work or whatever our pursuit is, right? We just want to do that. Because that fulfills us. But one thing I've realized over the last couple of years is we don't really know what's good for us. We don't. Otherwise we wouldn't search for answers. I wouldn't, you wouldn't. You wouldn't be watching this video if you had all the answers. So you don't know what's good for you. And so opening yourself to the option, like mentally opening yourself to the possibility that doing something with your girl that you would usually not be doing could actually be positive for you, is a pretty fucking big step in becoming a whole man. And you can't build a whole relationship if you're not whole by yourself. Maybe you know this already. Maybe you've experienced this already. How people who seek to complete themselves with a partner have the worst relationships, but people who are whole by themselves and then find someone who's also whole by themselves, they truly complement each other. And they truly build a whole relationship. Bro, without my girl, I would be working all day. And I did that in many of the long distance phases we had. Also a topic I made videos on, check those out. Anyway, her sense of childlike play and exploration actually get me out of my comfort zone, which is a very good thing. They show me a whole new side of this world, because my girl wants to do something like bouldering or surfing or skiing or fucking running, gym, secondhand shopping, going out for dinner, whatever else, acro yoga. She wants to do something like that every single day. I don't do something like that usually every single day, apart from gym basically, right? And surfing. But if I was single, a whole side of this world would just be closed off to me, because I wouldn't explore this. And A lot of men think that they need to hold their frame, which is true, but not in this instance. Because holding your frame doesn't mean that you live your life exactly how you would live your life if you were by yourself. You're not by yourself. You are with a woman. Live your life as if you were with a woman. How about that, huh? And I know this sounds so obvious, but no one actually does this. All that I'm saying is, open yourself to the fact that you don't have all the answers yet. And that by surrendering, not resignating, but by surrendering to the fact that you are in a relationship and to the fact that your girl wants to do certain things and maybe doing them with them every once in a while, can actually open a whole new world for you that will actually help you succeed much more in life and feel more fulfilled. Because fulfillment, what does that mean? You're fulfilled. You're full. You're filled up. It's very difficult to just be filled up from one single thing, which is work or gym or whatever else. It's very difficult. And you'll have fun in the process, and you will connect deeply with your woman, which of course benefits your relationship again. I've said this in the past. Adventure in the bedroom comes from adventure outside of the bedroom. Simple as that, man. And by the way, if you are a man who wants to take his relationship and himself as a man to that next level, then I want to offer you my help, and I want to explain to you how you could actually literally be talking to me within the next couple hours from now. Because I've already helped a bunch of men who felt stuck in their relationship, and I've helped them, or who felt stuck with relationships in general. Also a bunch of single guys who just didn't know what to do, really. Didn't know how to actually build the relationship they wanted. They knew the relationship they wanted, but they didn't know how to get there. And I've helped them create the exact relationship they wanted to create. And I've helped them basically create that relationship where they feel so at peace and so admired and respected. And their girl feels radiant and joyful. What I offered all of these guys, and what I'm going to offer to you as well right now, is a free alignment call with me personally. But this is not a free coaching call. My schedule, my time is too limited for that these days. But it is a call where you and me discuss what is holding you back from creating the exact relationship that you want to create and from becoming the man that you truly want to be. And we essentially figure out whether I can get you there. Now, quick disclaimer, this is not for broke guys who are like looking for some quick fix free advice, whatever bullshit. This is for guys in a stable financial position who want to take themselves and their relationship to that next level, or from zero create the relationship that they actually want to create. Now, let's be honest. You know that I can help you. Otherwise, you wouldn't have watched this whole video. You're not here to just waste 20 minutes of your time. Your time is too valuable for that. And so, if you are interested, and of course, no strings attached, by the way, right? If we get on this call and we don't end up working together, that's fine by me. I just want to offer you this opportunity and see whether I can help you out here. But if you are interested in doing this call, then what you can do is you can click the link in the description and it will take you to a page with an application form. You just fill out that application. There's like 5 or 6 questions. It takes literally 2 minutes to fill that out. And once you're done with that, the software will automatically figure out whether you are eligible, whether you are qualified to get on this call with me or not. And if you are, then you can basically book that call right then and there. And you could literally be talking to me within the next couple hours if my calendar is free. So if you're interested, click that link right now, fill out the application, and I'll be speaking to you very soon. Have a great day.